Namaste, everyone. I'm Bhuwan from Me, Nepal. I'm here with another awesome learning and growing opportunity for you guys. The session today is on NLP and self-esteem again. It's episode 2. As you know, we do this learn and grow program every Thursday and Friday. And why do we do this? Because we are a platform focused on learning, growing, and transforming. Today, we're going to talk about NLP and self-esteem. I'll discuss some techniques, a little bit more of those techniques than we did last week. I'll talk about some techniques in NLP that can support your self-esteem better. We'll be doing a few more sessions on self-esteem again because I feel 1 or 2 episodes probably not enough for a subject like this. Right? So let's get started. Once upon a time, a priest was on a long flight home from a conference. There's a warning on the plane by the crew: fasten your seatbelts. After a while, another voice said, "We shall not be serving any drinks at this time as we're expecting a little turbulence. Please make sure that you have your seatbelt fastened properly." The priest kind of looked around the aircraft and saw that most of the passengers were becoming very concerned. Later, another voice said, "We're very sorry that we will not be serving any meals today because the turbulence is still ahead of us." And then the storm came. The loud, scary noise of thunders and lightning could be heard even inside the plane, above the roaring of the engines and all that. And the lightning, it looked very scary against the dark skies. And within few moments, the plane was being tossed around like tiny boats on in a massive, in massive ocean waves or something like that. And the priest kind of looked around. He could see that nearly all the passengers were scared, except for one little girl. She sat there relaxed, feet swinging under her, looking at pictures in a book, and she seemed almost unaware of the turbulence around her. The storm was eventually over, right? The plane got through it. Everyone was safe. But when the plane landed and the passengers were getting off the plane, the priest approached the little girl and asked her why she was not afraid like the other passengers. The little girl said, "That's because my dad is the pilot. He's taking me home." See, that's confidence. Now, we can often notice or tell if someone has high or low self esteem if we really try to observe their behavior and their body language. This is quite obvious, isn't it? What is usually evident of a highly self esteem person is that they do not feel the need to show their competence or shout out their worth to the world to prove themselves. Those with high self esteem usually do not feel the need to boast or constantly tell others about their achievements. Like some people do. We have a lot of friends like that. "I've done this, I've done that." It's non-stop boasting of what they've achieved. Or people with high self-esteem do not take personal credit for team effort. If a marketing team came up with an amazing ad campaign, the marketing manager goes to the boss and says, "Well, this was all my idea. I came up with the whole plan." And we've seen these kind of people as well. Or they would not show off, dominate any conversations, or constantly remind you of all of their possessions. Like I'm sure we have some friends or relatives like that as well. They would constantly tell you about their expensive car at home or their beautiful house or their recently bought iPads or their expensive Samsung Galaxy Note 20 or whatever is expensive. So those of us who practice all or some of these things could actually have low self-esteem. Now, a friend of mine recently told me a story. It's a real story, of course. He was in India for a workshop on leadership development. He wanted to learn more from experts outside of Nepal. He saw that one of the facilitators at the workshop was a well-known corporate leadership trainer, um, and he knew about the trainer, and the world knows about the trainer, of course. But he felt very excited at the possibility of talking to the expert and picking his brains and learning more from him, especially during recesses. The expert looked amazing, right? He was firm, he was confident, and he showed no signs of stress or anxiety whatsoever. My friend was fascinated by his personality. However, during each recess, the facilitator seemed very relaxed and composed, but somehow he did not show any interest in talking to anyone else. He kept to himself. He hardly had any conversation, or he made no effort at um, making conversations with other people. So even when my friend approached him with questions, he felt the expert usually deflected them and created diversions towards light-hearted conversations. And during the workshop, he explained the content of the curriculum really well. He was clearly an expert, you could see that. But my friend also noticed that when the expert had to answer questions from the participants, he had another facilitator just to answer those questions. He would not answer them on his own. Now, on the last day of the 7 days workshop, my friend kind of decided to invite the facilitator for a dinner as a token of gratitude for the learning he received, right? As we Nepalis tend to do quite often, right? Now, during dinner and after a few drinks, the light-hearted conversation delved into my friend's profession and what he did for a living. When my friend told him that he was a professional coach, and shared some stories of positively transforming many lives with his skills and with his expertise. My friend saw that there was a sudden shift in the expert's body language, the facilitator's body language. He seemed to change his posture, his body language seemed to change quite a bit. Now, the expert then appeared to kind of open himself up to my friend and asked if he could help him get over his anxieties regarding conducting workshops. So he was obviously feeling a lot of stress during those workshops. And my friend, after asking a few powerful questions, quickly realized that the issue was directly related to facilitator's own self-worth and his doubt regarding his competencies. Now, what kind of behaviors and characteristics do high self-esteem people demonstrate? Some of them could be, they do not have reservations about sharing their knowledge with others. They exhibit humility. They let others take credit for any successes, or even give others credit themselves. They do not go around looking for compliments. They do not show any signs of discomfort when they receive compliments because they know when they deserve compliments. For them, confidence does not mean dominance, and they're comfortable being, quiet and laid back and let others take control. They show genuine interest in other people. They experience not only other people as in their personality, but also their experiences, their successes, their failures, whatever you can learn from them. And also, you know, if they do not get recognition from others, that will not demotivate them or derail them from their visions and their goals. Now, when when you look at an individual with high self-esteem, Their self-esteem is usually visible through their body language. They usually possess relaxed attitude. You usually see them stand or sit upright. Their movements are confident without any signs of hesitations, along with effective eye contact. Their body language tells a lot if you're analyzing them properly. Now, what we need to carefully consider is the fact that just because someone looks confident, talks competence, and you feel they seem relaxed, they seem calm, they seem very self assured from the outside, does not necessarily speak of their high self esteem. Even people who are able to speak up for others sometimes lack self worth to really do the same for themselves. Some people may regularly try and inspire their friends and families to, by showing them better ways of doing things, but may struggle to believe he himself can pull it off. Some of us may look at other people's weaknesses and feel sympathetic towards them, but our own self talk regarding our own weaknesses may be very cruel. It is very important to understand that even if people appear to be confident, efficient, or domineering externally, they may feel quite unworthy inside. Right, so you can see there's some distortions on this on my screen. I'll try and fix it. Just give me a couple of seconds. Um, see if I can fix this. See, I told you I could fix this. Well done, Bhuwan. Now, we've discussed this before. Modeling someone may get you the result you want, especially when you want to deal with your self-esteem. Think of someone or some people you may already know who you feel shows strong sense of self-worth, self-esteem. Now you need to think about, or maybe it's even better if you could write it down. How do they actually do it? What exactly do they do? How do they behave? What are their beliefs, or what could their beliefs be? If you don't know, you can maybe just ask them, what are their beliefs? What is really important to them? These are the questions you need to ask them. And what you can also ask yourself is, what do they do exactly that gives you the message that they're actually comfortable with who they are? And when you're doing this, use all of your senses. Make the best observation possible. Also, check what your instinct actually is telling you about this, right? Now, you can create a mental movie and imagine that you're actually watching yourself from the outside. Visualize yourself taking on all these attributes of the highly self-esteemed person you felt were ideal for you. Visualize yourself with all of these attributes, all of these behaviors, all of these characteristics as if they were already yours. Do this for 5 to 10 minutes uh, every single day. And if you practice this visualization technique enough times, you will rapidly begin to feel the difference and find most, if not all, most of these attributes to be a natural part of who you actually are. There's some more ways of improving your self-esteem. Now, as you may have already noticed, there are several ways of improving your self-esteem. Now, we're only going to focus on some of the really easy and simple ways recommended by NLP to keep things simple. First one is the as if technique. If you are observant enough, you can definitely tell the strategies that people with high self-esteem employ. At least you can tell it externally, right? If you list them all down, you'll have set of behaviors or activities for you to follow as recipe. For example, um, They usually have good eye contact when dealing with other people. They usually have calm and relaxed demeanor, or they seem decisive and purposeful in their movements. So you can write all of this down. Now, we meet a lot of people every day as our profession demands it, right? I feel as coaches and trainers with enough practice, we've trained ourselves to notice and tell a lot about people by just paying attention to these kind of attributes. Now, magically and effectively, NLP has shown that if we actively copy the actions and behaviors of highly self-esteemed people exactly the way they do it, we will eventually start feeling more and more confident every day, right? You are in this context behaving as if you were that person, the person who you would want to emulate, with person with a high sense of self. Obviously, some of you will have doubts and have want to hear more evidences before embracing this concept, and I completely understand that. I feel you. How about next time you go to a bank and see a teller? Act as if you expect and deserve immediate attention. Visualize yourself acting as if you're someone that commands attention from people around you. Try and be that person using all of your senses, and check if you're hunching. Hunching is never a good sign. And straighten your shoulders before you say anything. Look at them when you speak to them, and speak at a slow pace. Now check if you're feeling nervousness and do the needful to quieten your stress before you start the conversation. Maybe try some breathing exercises if needed. I'm sure I don't have to tell you about breathing exercises. Um, uh, just in case you don't know, we breathe quite regularly. So this is something we do automatically. But if you want to relax yourself, you can maybe take long deep breath a few times. Yeah, that usually does the trick, reduces the stress. One of the simplest way of doing it. Now, now you can go and talk to the teller as if you command attention and service. Can you feel the difference? Do you notice the change in how people respond to you? So try it. Try it and ask yourself these questions. Do you actually feel the difference? And how are people responding to you differently if they are? So this is something that you can try before actually embracing this concept or trusting me immediately. Now we've been constantly and continuously replicating and copying people around us ever since we were born, right? So we're copying our parents first, and our siblings, and our cousins, and our friends. Um, a boss that we really admire or idealize, or you know, everyone. So we're a collection of um, everyone that we've copied throughout our lives. So if you feel like this is unethical in any way, or this is somehow mm, not real, or this is fake, there's obviously no reason to listen to that nonsense in your head. You're only consciously deciding to choose the attributes and behaviors you want to copy that empowers you instead of those that limit you. That's the only difference. Now, feelings and behaviors are said to be connected in many ways. All of our feelings actively affect our behaviors. And also conversely, our behaviors also affect our feelings. In our state of mind, most of us have the perception that our behaviors can only be transformed if we can somehow change our feelings. Now, NLP says that, or tells us that the opposite is also true, and says that the opposite could be an easier and faster way of achieving change. You change your behaviors, your feelings will change as well. Now, the other technique is to focus on what works. Um, Constantly and regularly focusing on what is not working is a sign that your self esteem is low. If you see yourself regularly focusing on the critical feedback a friend gave you, while never ever thinking of some of the compliments you received. You require some solid work on your self-esteem. Do you usually seem to worry about what you could not achieve while completely ignoring all of your real achievements? Now, in situations like these, what do you see a person with high self-esteem doing or telling themselves? A person with high self-esteem will look for what worked, include the praises and compliments they received when they're talking to themselves, and also allow themselves to feel proud of all the things that they've actually achieved, of all the things that they've actually done right. You may feel that this is fooling oneself or being unrealistic or self obsessed, or you can give it any other name, or you can think of any other excuses. But if you do it properly, you will notice that these could act as fuel for your productivity and take you towards the life you actually love. Um, the other technique is accepting yourself. You're enough. Now, I think it is, or it should be obvious to us that self acceptance is the main ingredient to create solid self esteem. Self acceptance basically means accepting and being comfortable with who you are. You are enough. We're not asking you to pretend that you're perfect or to overlook your weaknesses. But what we're telling you is that regardless of what imperfections you see in yourself, accept yourself as you are. Now, once you perceive yourself as beautifully imperfect, like everyone else, you may feel easier being kinder to yourself. Your self talk will be more empowering. You'll be able to view your limitations and weaknesses as reality, but you'll not feel the need to dislike or devalue yourself for those weaknesses. And this will allow yourself to transform, grow, and change, right? So these are some of the techniques that you can employ. Again, like I said, we will be coming back with more sessions on self-esteem again. Where at the end of the session, we will come with two more episodes on self-esteem in the coming weeks. I hope you've enjoyed the session. Like I said, I'll be back with a few more sessions on this topic. If you have suggestions, drop us a line or two at coachmenepal@gmail.com. If you have feedbacks, critical or appreciative feedbacks, do not hesitate to share them with us. You can again email them to me, or what could you do? You could maybe post comments on YouTube or Facebook, or whatever suits you. We'll be coming with more free sessions as well, and some sessions that are not that free, because these sessions are awesome and they need a lot of work from us as well. Please like this, like, subscribe, and share. Why? Because we love you, and like we always say, we really do. And as you know, our goal is to reach and take these learnings to children in remote areas of Nepal who have no access to these type of knowledge, at no cost at all. We're targeting to reach 2 million children. So your support will go a long way. So we also have a lot of programs coming in the next few months. We're planning a NLP practitioner training, NLP master practitioners training, NLP and influence for business professionals. These are some of the courses we're planning to offer in December. Yeah, you can write to us if you have questions. Until then, let's see if we have any messages. I saw a raised hand somewhere. I don't know if she was praying or okay. Okay, someone else will do the closing, but then, okay, until then, stay safe, love yourself, love the people around you, be kind to them, because kindness is the answer to everything, and stay positive, not that way.